Okay, hello, back again. My name once again is John Sherin, and I am a co-founder and staff member on the Maslow-Toffler School of Futuristic Education. We're here today discussing alternatives within the public system, and our guests are Dr. Mary Anne Raywid from the Center for the Study of Alternatives at Hofstra, Judith Pietsch, who has recently graduated from the Maslow-Toffler School in Brentwood, and John Baum, who will be attending for his second year this coming year. I want to come back again for a moment, Dr. Raywid, to you. If there is anyone in our listening and viewing audience who might have some questions with respect to the offerings within their own district, or perhaps exploring what some other alternatives might be on Long Island, I suspect that you can be a help in providing information to anyone about alternatives and what exists on the island. Are there many alternative schools on Long Island?
Yes, there are a large number, and there's a considerable range in types, as is generally representative of the country. They're not all one type.
So that if there is somebody listening or watching who is dealing with a situation with their own children where they would like to explore some alternatives to the school system or the school that they are in, you might be in a position to talk with them or advise them. Is there a phone number or a place where they might reach you in order to do that?
Sure. They can call at 271-0661.
Okay. And, well, that's a good resource. That's a good number to have. Judy.
John.
We had been talking before, and there were several things that were still on your mind that you had wanted to mention. I wonder if you can share those with...
I don't remember exactly.
You were talking
specifics,
about talents as...
Yeah. Well, we were talking before about something, and it came up, I think John said that he was given the opportunity to expand his abilities, and I was thinking before about talents. In my personal beliefs, I believe that people are born talented, and certain people are nurtured in certain ways. And the difference between the Maslow-Toffler school and the traditional school is you're given a book to read, and your English teacher will say to you, here, you have to read Macbeth and have it read by Thursday. But in Maslow-Toffler, we're provided with a whole wide range of different kinds of books, and we're encouraged to read the books rather than forced to read the books. And I think that I was turned on to that type of thing, being encouraged to draw or paint rather than being forced as having an art class. I never took art in school. I was never really very much interested in it, but we had an art program in Maslow-Toffler, and I was encouraged to take part in it, and I did. And I found myself at the end of the year just really getting into painting and drawing, and I found out that I was talented in it. And I think that people are talented at birth, and if they're encouraged in certain ways, then they'll develop it.
Why is it that so much controversy develops about alternative schools? Now, I know, being involved with Maslow-Toffler myself, I know the incredible amount of controversy surrounding the school, surrounding the goings-on in the school, the notions that people have of what classroom learning is. How do you account for? Do you have any explanation or any feelings about the controversy surrounding the school, given what you have just said about it being a kind of a grand opening experience for you personally?
Yeah.
Well, I see it as being something that it's something that is, of course, new, and with the newness, people aren't quite sure about what's involved with it, and there's kind of a reaction to pull away from it for fear that it's going to threaten my way of living. And it's a different way of looking at education, and it's a way of accepting, again, the theory of the diversity, Without diversity, man would never have gotten as far as we have, on evolution. And in the same way that schools, the one school idea, it's like the dinosaurs. They're going to fall into their own earth, and they just won't be able to hold up. And the lighter, faster animals, the schools that accept the diversity, accept human nature, they will survive. They will begin to help people to grow and find their potential.
I almost hear you saying that it's kind of the survival of the fit, and the alternative schools are the fit ones. I almost hear you saying that. Are you?
But I think, well, yeah. But I think it's important to make clear that everything every form. Again, it's not that there is only one type of education. It's very serious to understand. It's very important to understand that the high school, the traditional form of education, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, you know, you have to service the need of the different students.
I've done, I think we were talking about this one day. You want the studies that have been done. Why don't you talk about that for a moment, about the, if we're you thinking about the same thing I am? The studies that have, where some systems have been actually...
Sure. I think we're on the same wavelength here. The evidence suggests that some students will succeed in some programs, and the very traits that equip them for success in some equip them for failure in others. And what this really suggests is, John is entirely right in what he's saying, that that there are a difference in programs is needed in order to accommodate the different kids. A standard conventional program may be just right for some kids and not for others. Same is true for teachers, by the way. We haven't talked about teachers at all.
Okay.
But teachers, too, have traits and abilities and inclinations that enable them to function well in one kind of school and not nearly as well in another. So an option system should really provide not just choice for students, but choice for teachers, too.
You know, we're getting now talking about students and teachers, and to include everyone would be administrators and all the other very important people in any educational system. Where do you, any of you, suspect that the future of education is going in this country? That's there are people out there in the listening audience, many of whom were, most of whom, I guess, myself included, have been educated in a system that was essentially developed in the 19th century. And yet, I expect to live some of my life past the year 2000. And I suspect the younger people in our audience will live most of their life in the 21st century. Where is the future of education going from your perspective? What, maybe some trends, some indications that any of you might have?
I don't know exactly where it's going, but I know that there is a lot of room for change. And I think a lot of people are really afraid of change, and they say that there's no room for change. We can't change the educational system, but in reality we really can. And there's room for so many different types of educational systems. And I think Alvin Toffler said in Future Shock that scientific diversity aids to the survival of the species, and therefore educational diversity aids to the survival of education. You know, like you have to change you can't only have one type of educational system. I think people are afraid of alternatives, and that's why they'll build up rumors. There have been a lot of rumors about Maslow-Toffler that we were just a hangout school, and like you said, people were swinging from the roof or whatever. But it's not true. I think people are just more involved, and they're more free about what they've learned and to talk about what they've learned than the other students and parents and the teachers from the traditional system will look and say, these people are freaks, you know. I've been called a groupie hangout from Maslow because I talk about where I came from. I talk about my teachers and my books and my classes. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I ever shut my mouth for the whole year.
John, I think you probably answered this, but I'm just curious, has your attitude about education changed at all? As a result of your experience of the last year?
In a way, yes. You know, I don't. School, as opposed to being a hindrance, is now actually, you know, doing what school should be. It's something that's a growthful experience, and it's not holding me back from learning what I want to do. It's helping me to learn, and I felt held back in a traditional system.
Well, that certainly contradicts much of what I have heard about the separateness of school and useful information and the real world kind of thing. It sounds like it's been an integrative experience for you.
It must be.
Incidentally, folks, if there's anyone listening or watching that might like to ask any of us any additional questions or to explore with us what alternative education is and how we've experienced it, what Maslow-Toffler is, and how you might learn more about it, I would encourage you to call the number that I hope will appear on your screen at this point, 435-2237, and someone will be more than happy to provide you either with an opportunity to explore alternative education in greater degree or to talk with one of us. Is there anything that you think we might leave our audience with today before we leave, because we're running down now in the last few minutes of time from the signals that I've been getting out there? Is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with?
I'd like to stress again the fact that you really have to put into a system what you want to get out, because our school took a lot of student involvement, and if you didn't get involved, you weren't going to get anything out of it. And my being involved encouraged me to go on and study psychology, which I studied in this school, and speak at the graduation ceremonies in Brentwood in favor of our school. And I think it's a lot of, takes some energy. You have to put it in.
Okay.
I think just briefly I'd like to say that I think education is, public school education hopefully will become what modern society is, a very quickly changing, diverse part of life, and I think that's very important.
Thank you, John. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking today with Dr. Mary Anne Raywid, Judith Pietsch, and John Baum, all of whom have, and myself, of course, John Sherin. We have different perspectives and shared some experiences with alternative education, and we'd love to have the opportunity to share them further with you. So hope to talk to you again. Thank you very much for being with us on Spotlight Special.